Anyone in the UK who thinks that the destruction of our culture is confined to just our shores should take a look at Ireland. This is a recent Irish textbook showing the difference between a traditional Irish family and the brave new world of Ireland, which is being constructed right now. So here's the traditional Irish family, and here's the brave new world. Yeah, let's face it, they're probably not in Ireland at this photo, but leave that to one side. Which do you prefer? I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Okay, so this is the Daily Sceptic, and it says here, outrage over school textbook branding traditional Irish families as bigoted while glorifying diverse families and forcing kids to choose sides. There's a better picture a bit lower down. Here we are. Now, I want to analyse this picture because it is replete with symbolism. First of all, here is a traditional Irish cottage. It's got a thatched roof and there's a bird there. I wonder how many of these traditional Irish cottages still exist, because I don't think so, really. Anyway, the bird is up there because it's looking for insects, which you will find in any thatched roof, or maybe seeking a place to put a nest, which will bring insects. In other words, it's not very sanitary. Here's the fields, and the whole scene is being looked over by a sleepy cow that's just chewing away. And I think that sleepy cow there, chewing the cud, is something of a symbol, like what in art is called a sprecher. That is somebody who is pointing a moral to the whole picture. And I think that sleepy cow is meant to be the moral of the picture. It's only half awake. It's just interested in chewing. It's hardly engaging with anything. That's the cow. Then there are chickens all over the place. And again, that's probably insanitary. And then there's this tree, which is, to my mind, very interesting. It's not in leaf. I mean, you could have the tree up there as well, but no, this tree has been cut. It's a dead end of a tree. It's a symbol of, just about hanging on to some sort of life. There are a few leaves, but they're not doing that well. And the rest of the tree is dead and cut off. Now, I think the artist wants to show that this is a non-fertile landscape, that this is a non-sustainable family model. But in fact, it looks to me really like the artist has actually, at the back of his or her mind, come up with the idea that this is the Irish way of life being cut down. But that's just the way I see it. I'm sure the artist didn't mean that, not from the rest of the stuff. So we've got this wall here. I don't know whether it's meant to be a dry stone wall. Do they have dry stone walls in Ireland? They have them in Yorkshire a lot, and I'm accustomed to those. But whatever. Whoever it is obviously thinks that, I mean, you can see the stones are all different shapes and they're all sort of higgledy-piggledy. It's obviously, to the artist, an unsophisticated piece of work using whatever stones are hanging around at the time. It's not the work of architecture that it really is, if you actually go into the way these walls are constructed. But of course, I don't think the artist knows about that. So here's the leaded glass window. You use leaded glass when you get cheaper bits of small glass rather than a big sheet of glass. And now let's look at the people. Well, they're wearing uniform, aren't they? To go with their uniform thoughts. They've all got red hair and they're all wearing hand-knitted sweaters. And the two kids have a sort of vacuous, mindless expression on their faces as they dance an Irish jig, which is the only culture Ireland has apparently. Well, apart from all the writers that put many other countries to shame. Let's not mention Yeats and Swift and Joyce, should we? And here's the mother and father. Father's got a pitchfork, obviously, and there's the mother is wearing a skirt and jeans. Why? Modesty, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what that mark is there. Dirt or some sort of symbol? No idea. But anyway, there they are. The only thing that's missing here is the potato. I do not know. Oh, yeah, here. This is the traditional game of hurling, isn't it? I believe that's called a caran, and the ball here is called a slitter. Anyway, I apologise if I've got the pronunciation of those wrong. So the only thing these people do for amusement is hurling. And there are no signs of technology anywhere in this building, or indeed anywhere else. There are no telephone lines in the distance. There are no satellite dishes of any sort, nothing. They just go in and, I don't know, what, roast a cow by the fire? I have no idea. Right, and that contrasts with this. This is the new, brave, young Ireland. A mixed bunch of different colours. Here we are. As opposed to these red-headed white folk. And all wearing different clothes, showing they have different tastes, waving a football scarf in the air. I don't know which football team that represents, but I'll bet you it doesn't represent an Irish one. And yeah, this person here, is it male or is it female? Whatever it is, it's wearing a beret and a striped t-shirt, so that's obviously French. They're eating pizza. And they obviously, here's the suitcase, they go travelling and they're using technology, a mobile phone in front of the Colosseum. Now, I don't know whether this is meant to be the Rome Colosseum because I don't recall any greenery around there. I do know there are a couple of Colosseums elsewhere in the world, one of them in North Africa. And I'm trying to remember the name of the place there. It's a Roman town, which, you know, is pretty well preserved. Tamad? I think it might be Tamad. Anyway, there's a Colosseum there that's beautifully, but I may be misremembering. Anyway, they are in front of a beautiful piece of architecture which uses dressed stone and concrete. So that's very sophisticated. And if you notice, by the way, not an animal in sight, not even a bird, as opposed to this animal-filled, rough-hewn, handmade, unsophisticated landscape here. There is no greenery around the Colosseum, either in that North African town or in the Rome Colosseum itself. There are just buildings around there. But the picture here shows trees and uncut trees, which is sort of interesting when you consider the way they have the tree depicted next to the Irish family that is so old-fashioned and undesirable. Sort of interesting, that, isn't it? I think that artist possibly put in a little more than he, or I'm sorry to say, more likely she, actually wanted to put in there. There's a little bit of psychology in there that sort of leaked out. That was not in an intended way. All right, well, we'll get back to the discussion of the background to this modern picture now. Let's see what they say. We do not like change or difference. That's these guys. All of our family members are Irish. We do not have a single relation living abroad or anyone from another country in our family. I mean, most Irish people live in towns like Dublin, which is one of the most beautifully architected, if there's a word, cities in Europe. So they're showing these people, whereas most Irish people are, I don't know what, in suburbs in places like Kilkenny. Anyway, we have a family business that's obviously got something to do with farming, and it is expected that we will join it when we finish school. Noyen would like to be a yoga instructor, but my dad said it's not a proper job and she must stick to what she knows. We eat Irish food and have potatoes, bacon and cabbage every day because it is Irish and it is our tradition. Our holidays are spent touring Ireland. You know what? I know lots of farmers and most of them don't even have holidays. We all play Irish musical instruments and go to... Oh, God. OK, we only play hurling, handball or Gaelic football. But yeah, Sean wanted to learn the drums and steel guitar, but Mam said no because there are lots of great Irish instruments. I mean, when was any Irish family like that? The only movies we get to see are Irish ones. None of that Hollywood rubbish for us. Well, yeah, I would. I'd go with them on the Hollywood rubbish. We get told off if we mix with people with different religion from ours, as they would be a bad influence on us. I mean, when was any Irish family like this? The fact that there are so many Irish people in America shows how adventurous the Irish were. I know that famine forced a lot of them out, but the fact is they voted with their feet as an adventurous people. Now, and then there's this one, this family B. And I don't think they're a family myself, but we love change and difference. We find other cultures new and exciting. Our favourite dinners are curry, pizza and Asian food. So what's wrong with potatoes and bacon then as an ethnic food? Okay, during school holidays, we go camping in Europe and visit the galleries to see the wonderful paintings. Are there not wonderful paintings in Dublin? Look, I've travelled the world and the seven seas. I know there are wonderful things to see in other countries, and I'm not saying you should only look at things in Ireland, but we have relations in London and Australia, and our family is part Irish, part Romanian and part Dutch. This is the great big world that this Irish family obviously don't know anything about. Anyway, after you've read all this stuff, oh yeah, one of them is a volunteer with the Red Cross in Syria. How woke can you get? And then you get these questions. Name any advantages you can think of about being part of family B. Name any disadvantages. Which family is the more inclusive? And there's nothing here about the advantages of family A, are there? Everything's about family B. Is it a good thing or bad thing to be inclusive? And you see, here we have a great way of putting it. Which family is the more inclusive? Well, obviously, you're meant to say it's this family, aren't you? Although it doesn't look to me like they're that inclusive, to be honest. They're all each their own sort, aren't they? Something wrong there. Do you think this is a good or bad thing for that family? And here you have the really poisonous part of the questionnaire. Because any child with any sense knows that if he or she writes that it's a bad thing, that they're all different and have different ideas and different ways of dealing with things, then they know they're going to get marked down. They're probably going to irritate their teacher, and they're probably going to mark themselves out for being bullied or marked down later on for almost anything. After your class, share their answers. So everybody's got to give the answers to all of them. So if somebody here says the other family is better, especially the way they've been depicted, they will have to justify this to the whole class. They're going to find them, or at least they will be afraid of finding themselves in a minority, arguing with the whole class. So, of course, they're going to just give, if they have any sense, they're going to give the answers that everybody expects them to give. And here it says, we're rating families in the classroom now. Under the pretense of respecting diversity, this is actually a disgusting exercise in the bullying of school children whose families... the comma shouldn't be there, whose families like being Irish, are proud of being Irish, and who therefore could find themselves targeted in a way in school. This is what kids are being taught in Ireland. Actually, that's worse than what's happening in England. But some time ago, I did talk about the problem with education, as the Reform Party wanted to talk about education, making people proud of being British. They are going to have to get past the teachers. And there are teachers who are willing to teach this stuff because this was given out in a class. You didn't find a teacher saying, I'm not giving this rubbish to my children. So you've got to get past the teachers who are very happy with this sort of disgraceful stereotyping. Irish people, whether you're in Ireland or in America or indeed in Australia, wake up. If you can help your relatives in Ireland, do. And if you're in Ireland, don't stand for this. Okay. Oh, by the way, I have to say, I said help and don't stand for it. I didn't say get physical about it. Just remember that. All right. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.